Hello dear students, I welcome all of you to Business Capstone at Online Akara. So today you are going to start a journey of nearly 6 months, and this is your first time that you will be sitting for a written exam, an exam where you've gotten to write. All these days you were into doing exams as MCQs. So today, now onwards, this is your first time in the history of CA that you are going to do a written exam. So let's get started with this journey of 6 months. So back again, as all of you know, you are going to sit for Business Capstone under the 2025 curriculum of CA Sri Lanka. So this curriculum is for a 5 years of period, and you are one of the first batches to sit for this exam under the new curriculum. So speaking about the new curriculum, CA Sri Lanka has said that is where trust drives strategy and stories inspire transformation. So this subject is all about storytelling, thinking like a strategist, and explaining things to a person coming from maybe a non-financial background or else a financial background, which is very much more easy to explain things to someone who comes from a financial background. So before moving on, let me introduce myself. Now you must be wondering who I am. So I am your strategic lead or business capstone lecturer who will be teaching you the knowledge module of this course or the curriculum. So I'm Sarah Shifa, and I will tell you a bit more about who I am down the line during this video or this recording. So first of all, back again, congratulations on coming to this point or reaching this point in your journey of becoming a chartered accountant. There must have been different routes where you've taken to come to this point and be eligible to learn the business capstone subject or else the business capstone, this module. So, and also I thank you very much for choosing us, Online Akara, and trusting us in this journey of yours to learn the subject of business capstone. So now what we are going to do during this session is to decode this subject to you, to give you an understanding about what BCAP is all about, everything that you need to know about BCAP before we delve deep into learning the content which is in this subject. So moving on, why do you think business capstone exists? Why do we need a subject called business capstone? Why did CA Sri Lanka bring it into a curriculum? So let's have a look at it. So now all of these days you've learned plenty of subjects. See, maybe if you are coming through the new curriculum, you have 4 subjects to sit for before sitting for being eligible for business capstone. If you've taken the old curriculum, the 2020 curriculum, you would have sat for nearly 8 exams to get to the business capstone. Now, unlike all our traditional accounting based subjects, this subject is a bit different. Let's see why this subject is different to others. So in this subject, the requirements are to shift students from knowledge accumulation. Now we are not just going to learn things, but to think like a professional and apply the knowledge that you've learned like a professional. Also, to develop accountants who can not just calculate and do sums, but think, decide, and also execute. And also, CA Sri Lanka's most important goal was to align the CA curriculum or the qualification to match real world business expectations. Now, this BCAP is not just going to test your memory. There's nothing that you have to memorize by heart and go and write at your exams, because I'm sure most of you during your school journeys, maybe O-levels, A-levels, you all would have memorized a lot of details and try to keep them by hearted in your mind when you write the exam. But this is going to be a different model and a different structure altogether. Let's see how. So, in CA Sri Lanka's new curriculum, they say that they expect 3 qualities in an aspiring chartered accountant. One thing is, a chartered accountant who qualifies through the CA Sri Lanka should be trusted. They should be strategic. Not just trusted and strategic, whatever the problem or complex situation it is, you should have the power to tell the story behind the numbers to anyone. Maybe that person might be very good in financial knowledge, might not be financially very literate. Whichever the background that person comes from, you should be able to communicate what has happened in a business organization. So, first of all, if someone is to trust you, or if someone is to think that you are credible enough to do something, what do you have to have? You should master your technical skills. Maybe how to prepare a financial statement. How do you do a tax calculation? Now, these are technical skills. So, you have to have your basic accounting technique, not only accounting, but finance, risk. You should know about how to manage risks. You should know about the law in the country, the law that affects your company, and then the taxation part of it, like I covered before. And then you have to be strategic. Now, just because you know the content or the technical content, you can't be strategic unless you know how to use digital tools, data analysis tools. You should know about sustainability and a lot of things like that. You should know about the governance of the company, the governance of the country. You should have a holistic understanding that goes one step beyond technical skills. And then, like I said, you should be able to tell the story to whichever the party it is. You should have leadership skills. You should have problem solving skills. So that's what we are going to learn during this journey of the business capstone. So now we look at the curriculum. Now you have already must have some sort of understanding on the CA curriculum. So before we move on, let's see in this curriculum, where does business capstone stand? So first of all, you have your 4 subjects, and then you are eligible to sit for business capstone, and then again you have another 4 subjects in your corporate level, and there onwards you move on up towards corporate capstone, strategic capstone, and then you become a qualified chartered accountant. So now that is the journey that all of us are in. We have started this with a mission, with a vision and an ambition, okay, to become a chartered accountant one day. So let's do this. This is our first major milestone in your CA journey. So let's conquer it together. So now, what does CA Sri Lanka as an institute expect from you as a business capstone student? Let's have an understanding. First of all, to sit for this business capstone exam, they expect you as a student to apply accounting knowledge in business context. And then they also expect you to think operationally and in an analytical way. Now, I will train you all on how to think operationally, how to apply analytical knowledge into what we learn. And then to use data to support decision making. And then to understand technology and automation, there are a lot of new technology out there that we need to understand. For an example, there is artificial intelligence, there is robotic process automation. There are a lot of other features and technology available out there, and if we don't know how to use them, we wouldn't know how to use or storytell in the most suitable way. And then we have to demonstrate professional judgment and ethics. Now CA Sri Lanka wants to see whether you are an ethical chartered accountant, whether you are an ethical student, an ethical citizen in this country, in the world. So being a chartered accountant comes as a whole package. It's not just the technical skills. You should have good understanding on technology. You should understand about what's happening in the country, the world at large, and all of that. And you should be able to use professional judgment. That is one very important thing. So let's see during the rest of the syllabus or the curriculum, while learning it, how we apply professional judgment into a real world business problem to solve a business problem. Now I want to make one request. Now during this subject of business capstone, I want you to stop thinking like a student. We are not going to think of us like a student anymore. Now from thinking like a student, we have to shift into thinking like a professional. So let's train our mindset. Let's make use of this opportunity that CA Sri Lanka has given us to now come out of that student mindset and think like a structured professional who knows not just the technical skills. Now, along business capstone, you've also got to complete some other modules called power skills and integrity skills. You're supposed to master power skills and integrity skills. Let's see what sort of skills these power skills and integrity skills are. First of all, you should have good understanding on how to communicate. Communication is not just a one-way thing. It's a two-way thing. You should be able to comprehend what the other person says and also convey your message to the other person. So it's equally important that you listen as much as you speak. And then leadership. You should be able to lead a team, lead people around you towards that one common goal or objective that you want to achieve. And then we have problem solving. When a problem happens, how are you going to solve it? Because in the real world out there, when you step out of the classroom as a professional, you've got a lot of problems to solve. Every day comes with a new challenge and a new problem. So you have to master this skill of problem solving. And then you have to know about the business. That is business acumen. You should know what you're doing. And then you need to know people skills. Now have you all seen hermit crabs? Can you all live like a hermit crab inside your shell? No, you're going to go out there one day. You must be already working in an organization as an intern, or maybe in the future you plan to work as an intern, a finance executive, move up the ladder, become a finance manager one day, and then move up further, you become a CFO. There's a big journey ahead of you. So for that, you need to work with people. Can you work alone? No, you have to work with the team. As much as you need to know how to lead a team, you should know how to work together with the team, connect with people, network with people, make new friends, make new business connections. Okay? And then we have our integrity skills, which is moreover, which completes a chartered accountant. You should know how to act and behave ethically in any given circumstance. When someone is watching you, when someone is not watching you, when you are alone, wherever you are. It can be in any place. It can be in a classroom, it can be at your workplace, it can be at home, it can be in the road, wherever you are. Whether someone is watching or not, you should ethically do what is right always. And then professional judgment. You should be able to unbiasedly, without any biases, do what is right. And then you have to have strong public interest. When you become a CA, your decisions and what you say has a long way to go, because people trust you, so you should do what's right. Okay, when you become a chartered accountant one day, say you become a partner in an audit firm and you sign off your audit report, how many people look at that set of financial statements and trust your signature that you have placed in it? That is called public interest. So you have to work in the best interest of everyone. So that completes a complete chartered accountant. So now let's get into the curriculum, the business capstone curriculum. So now what I have done in here is I have put it into a pie chart to show you what the biggest components, or moreover all the components are in this business capstone syllabus. First of all, the biggest part of your syllabus is going to be about understanding operations in a business and managing the operations in a business. So it's about processes and how efficient we are going to operate a business. Now that is 40%. As you see, this is 40% of your syllabus, which is the biggest weightage. And then we move on to data analytics and decision support, which is 20% of your syllabus. And then we have one of the other most important components coming in. All components are equally important, but this is the weightage in which you have to learn the curriculum. We have technology and automation, which is 20%, tactical execution. That means how are you going to tactically execute your knowledge and into this business when operating in a business setup, and then connecting the functional dots. There are different functions in any sort of business, which I will explain later further down the line. For an example, you take a hotel. There are different functions in a hotel. There can be the sales function, the marketing function, the HR function, the housekeeping, the engineering, the kitchen, the front desk as you walk into the hotel, the reception. There are lots of functions like that. So now those functions can't work in isolation. They should work together if they are to serve the customer in the best possible way. So how are we going to connect all of these functions to add value to the customer is what we are going to learn. Now, there are some do's and nots in business capstone. First of all, let's understand what business capstone is. It is a case-based exam. Now, this is the first case-based exam that you are going to face in your CA journey. So, it's going to be a case study. They will give you a scenario with a set of information that you have to apply the knowledge that you learn during this subject onto this case and solve a real world problem, or give your understanding or give a solution for a problem in a context of understanding or analyzing a case. Now this case can come in different ways. We can have a pre-seen case, an unseen case. Now I know that you're not familiar with these words, so let's get ourselves familiar down the line while getting an understanding on this subject. Now what we're going to do is, you must have learned some core subjects in your CA curriculum. Now we are going to put all of that knowledge together along with this knowledge that we are going to learn in the business capstone subject, and then apply all of this knowledge in a written exam as well as something called a verbal pitch. Now back again, let me explain in detail what a verbal pitch is. For now, let's move on with the flow. So it should be very judgmental. Once you say this is right or this is wrong or this is the solution, this is the problem, you should be able to provide reasons. Why do you think this is correct? Why do you think this is wrong? Why do you think this is the problem? Why do you think this is the best solution? You should be able to validate whatever you say or write during this process. And then it should be very practical and realistic, because we are going to apply this into a real world business problem, a case, a scenario, a story that they give you. So we should be able to analyze and understand that. Now, these are the things you should do. What are the do's? Now, these are the do's. Now, what are the don'ts? The things that you should never do. One thing is, you should never memorize for this exam. Now, this exam is an open book exam, which means you can take literally anything you want to the exam and go. Now, does that mean the exam is going to be easy? You must be thinking, "Ayyo, what is this?" You are allowed to take anything to the exam and go. So it's just nothing. No, it's a big game of practicing. It's a process where you've got to practice. So, it's useless trying to memorize definitions, memorize concepts. No, you're allowed to take your book and go. You're allowed to take your notes and go. So, memorizing is not going to help you in this journey. And also, theory writing exam. Now, from small days, what are we used to? We are used to memorizing a definition, memorizing a concept. What is management? It is planning, organizing, leading, controlling. No. Now that's not what the examiner is going to expect from you as a candidate who's sitting for your business capstone exam. It's not going to be a checklist based exam. You don't need to study, okay, reasons for corporate failures. 10. There's a list of 10 reasons. Now, you're not going to study all of that and go to the exam and write number 1, is this number 2, is this number 3, is this? No, that is not what the examiner expects from you. Because what you've got to do in this journey is, first of all, you have to understand whatever the concepts that we are going to learn. And then once you understand it, you have to apply it where? To the real world case. Now, what is a case? A case is going to be a story and set of information. That's how we are going to achieve the maximum possible marks at your final exam as well as your verbal pitch. Now, don't get scared when you hear these concepts called verbal pitch, final exam. I will explain it to you in a very detailed way. So, let's move on. I want to give you a structure about the business capstone syllabus now. Your syllabus is made up of 5 sections or main chapters. We have chapter A, B, C, D and E. Chapter A is Introduction to Business Operations Management. Like I said, it is 40% of your curriculum. You remember that pie chart that I showed you before. It is 40% of your curriculum and it is taught to you through 8 lessons. And then we have data analysis, decision support for operations, which is back again 8 lessons, and we have strategic technology and operations, back again 8 lessons, principles of tactical execution 6 lessons, and integrated business systems and strategic operations, which is again 7 lessons. Now, I've broken it down further to show you what type of content is there under each of these main 5 chapters. So, these are what you are going to learn inside these chapters, and through learning this, what does CA Sri Lanka expect from you as the outcome is what is given in this last column. So, through chapter A, operations management, you are expected to have strong operational judgment. And then through chapter B, you have to be able to make data backed decisions, and you have to be future ready professional thinkers and execute discipline in whatever you do. And then you have examiner level integration. Now, it's not about learning bits and pieces of all of these chapters. You should be able to put together all of these chapters together within 3 hours in a written exam under the examination setup. Now, our first chapter, as we said, was operations management essentials. Now, look at this picture. Just to get an understanding, how are we going to run our day-to-day operations? That's the most important thing in a business. Why? Because whatever the business does, whatever the strategy that they have in place, whatever the management they have in place, they wouldn't be able to get the best outcome if they can't serve the customer well. At the end of the day, think of yourself. You walk into a restaurant. You don't really bother about who strategically operates this restaurant, who makes leadership decisions, how are the products going to be sourced. No, it's about how good the customer service is, how clean the place is, how good the food is, how long your waiting time was. Those are the customer touch points. So the scenarios or the things that are most closest to the customer, which helps you or the organization deliver to the customer, is where the operations in the business take place. And then have a look at this. Now, data analysis in decision making. Now, there's a lot of data that we collect during businesses. We can understand how much of customers walking on a daily basis, how much of customers on a weekly basis, during different seasons, festival seasons, how does our sales fluctuate, during off-peak seasons, do our sales drop, and apart from that, you can also see how much our sales have been when prices were fluctuating, when inflation was happening, when there were economic problems in the country. Now, using all of this data, we can make a lot of decisions about the future, forecast about the business, and make good decisions. And then we're going to see how we are going to use the latest technology available. Okay, what are the latest technologies? We have artificial intelligence, we have advanced analytic tools which are available that we can make use in the business world. We have robotic process automation, we have bots working to streamline, automate certain processes which do not need human intervention at all. So those kind of things are what we are going to learn under that. And then we have mastering tactical execution. Now, regardless of the decisions that we make in the organization, it's not just about decision making. How are we going to execute these decisions in a real world business scenario? That's what we are going to learn in here. And then comes integrating all of these systems. Not only systems, we have to integrate our mindset, our thinking, our knowledge that we gathered. We're going to bring everything together to make the best of decisions out there. So you have to be able to think cross-functionally. Now, you can be a finance professional, no problem. For an example, take a hotel again. You are a finance executive working in a hotel. You have to know all the other functions. How are we going to bring all these functions together? Okay, how are you going to make the budget for the hotel? How are you going to do the costing? How are you going to work together with the chef who works in the kitchen in the hotel to come up with your budget? How are you going to meet your targets? How are you going to meet your profit margin? Now, you can't do that alone. You have to work in collaboration with the sales teams, with the marketing teams, okay, with the front office teams, with the kitchen, with the chef, everyone in the organization, because you can't think of finance in isolation. You have to think about the big picture. Now, when it comes to the BCAP subject, to prepare you for this big game, what is going to be Online Akura's support system? Now, that is going to come in 3 phases. We are going to support you in 3 major ways, 3 major milestones during this journey of business capstone. Number 1, in phase 1, we are going to teach you all the lessons. How many lessons do we have? We have 37 lessons. We are going to teach you all these 37 lessons one by one in a very practical, very interesting way, so that you understand the core, the theory of the subject. And then that will happen during your first 3 months of this 6-month journey. And then phase 2, we are going to understand your pre-scene. It's a case study. You have to study the case or the story that CA Sri Lanka is going to give you. And then pitching support. I will explain all of this to you in detail. And then you have your third phase or your last phase or your last exam, which is going to be your final exam. So during the last 2 months, what we are going to do is help you do as much as examination type model questions. We are going to train you to think and write just the way you will go and have to face an exam or write in that examination setup, because no more are we going to have MCQ based examinations for this capstone subject. And even when you progress up higher up in the CA curriculum, when you go into your corporate level, you are not going to have MCQ or multiple choice question type exams. So back again, now we are going to first lay the foundation, and then it will take around 2 to 3 months. So we'll try to watch as much as possible the lessons and gather the knowledge, and then at the end of the 3rd month, let's understand the pre-scene, case and pitching. So what happens in a pre-scene and case is 3 months before your exam, CA Sri Lanka will give you a document called a case, a pre-scene case. Now what you have to do is you have to read the case. Don't worry, you don't need to do it alone. We are there to help you in this journey. So we will read it together with you and understand what the story is all about. It's going to be based on a real business. It's going to be a business case that is given to you. Let's see how we can analyze this. I will speak about it further during this video. And then we are going to practice as much as possible. Have you heard this? Practice makes perfection. So we are going to train to get to where? Perfection, near perfection. It's not that you can't do it. You can do it with the right amount of discipline, practice and patience during this journey. So moving on, you will want to know who I am, right? Who am I and what's the role that I am going to play in this journey for you. So let me introduce myself. Number 1, I am a CA finalist and also a BSc in Applied Accounting first class graduate from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka, and also I am currently pursuing my Masters in Business Administration at the Postgraduate Institute of Marketing at the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, and also I am a research presenter or an award-winning technical paper presenter under the theme of sustainability reporting. I was CA's best speaker in the year 2024, and then I was also the champion of the South Asian Federation of Accountants public speaking contest in the year 2024, and also I currently am working as an assistant manager in risk advisory services at a leading audit firm, and also I come with a lot of knowledge in transaction advisory services or deal advisory services. So I'm going to take in all of my experience, everything that I have gathered, and I'm going to give all of that to you in the best way possible. So let's see, and I won't be doing this alone. I have with me a team which will also help you and support you in every step of this journey. So this is the entire team who's going to help you with the business capstone or mastering the business capstone subject. Now don't think of it as just a subject. Think of it as an opportunity that CA Sri Lanka has given you to learn the subject, because this subject is going to play a major or very important role in your career, in your jobs one day, in the professional business world one day. It's going to elevate you from being just a mere student to a professional with professional standards and professional thinking mindset. So with me I have as a strategic lead Sasmitha Ransarani, who will also be helping me and teaching you this subject or this knowledge module of this subject. And apart from that, we have all of this elite panel who comes with a wealth of experience and knowledge to help you in the best way possible. It can be in teaching the subject, it can be in helping you prepare for the pre-scene pitching, which I will explain in detail further, and also to analyze the case study that you will get 3 months before the exam. We are not going to leave you alone. We are going to help you to read it with you, understand it with you, and decode the entire story with you. So, now I've spoken about what we are going to give you. Now, can you clap with one hand? You can't. You need 2 hands to clap. The same way, we are going to help you, but I want your hand also together to get through this journey. So what do I or we have as expectations from you as our students? Number 1, we want you to study consistently. Now you can't watch a video today, forget about it, and 1 month before the exam you can't think, oh no, I have exams in 1 month's time, I need to study. No, that's not going to work. That's not how it works. It might have worked all these days with all the other subjects, but not with business capstone. Because in business capstone, you get your pre-scene case study 3 months before the exam, and 2 months before the exam you are supposed to do something called a pitching. So to do this pitching, you should have solid understanding on the theory or the knowledge modules that we will be consistently teaching you and equipping you with. So you can't do it unless you are consistent with your study plan, with your schedule. Keep in touch with your schedule. Keep in touch with us. Reach out to us if you have any problems during this journey of business capstone. We are there to help you at any given time. And like I said, you can't do this. Last minute learning does not work in this case. Okay, so we are going to avoid last minute learning. We are going to focus on understanding. You don't need to memorize everything. You can take all your books if you want to the exam. You can take your study text to the exam. You can take your notes to the exam. You can take anything written to the exam. You can take literally anything to the exam. So you are not going to memorize everything. Why do you need to memorize when you can take it and go to your exam? So it's an application based exam. So we'll have to practice application. Now, useless you having all of your books and your notes and everything taken to the exam and being unable to go and write the exam. So that's where practice matters. That is where application plays a big role, and application is not possible without practice. Solid understanding of the knowledge of the theory and then applying that knowledge to the given scenario or this case. So if you need any help or support during this journey, if you don't understand anything that I have taught you and I'm going to teach you in the future, please, if you need any help, I am there for you anytime. You can contact me on WhatsApp, and this is my number. Please reach out to me. Do drop me a message or call me directly, and I will be helpful at any given time. And if you are not there in the Business Capstone WhatsApp group, please do join our WhatsApp group. And if there is anything that you feel is a question that if once I answer it, other students will also benefit from it, don't just send it as a direct message to me. Rather tag me and put a message on the group, and I will attend to it and respond to it so that it will benefit everyone in the group. So now we'll speak about the reality about CA exams. Now all these days you have been sitting for MCQ based exams. Now this is your first exam where you are going to write a written exam, a paper based exam. So when it comes to CA exams, I'm telling you this with my personal experience of going through CA throughout the levels, up the levels. One thing that the examiner CA Sri Lanka wants or expects from you, number 1 is discipline. Number 2, it's not hard work that is required, it is smart work that is required. So let's be very smart and let's stay consistent in our learning. Let's come up with a schedule, a study plan How are we going to watch the videos? What time during the week am I going to keep for watching videos? What time am I going to keep to read, to revise, to organize my notes, to refresh my knowledge? You are going to make a study plan which is practical and realistic. So, you know the commitments that you have in your life. Okay, you might be studying just CA, you might be working while studying. Okay, there can be a lot of other scenarios. You might have family commitments, you might have commitments with your friends, colleagues, a lot of hobbies out there, extracurricular activities. Regardless, how are you going to make time to study business capstone? That is the most important thing. So, even it's not the most talented students who pass CA or who become chartered accountant. It is the most disciplined students, the most, I wouldn't say use the word hardworking, the students who work smart, who qualify and one day become chartered accountants. So I know all of your dream is to one day become a qualified chartered accountant, and all of you all are aspiring chartered accountants to be, and you all will one day, and then that is one of my biggest wishes as your strategic lead or lecturer in this business capstone subject. So now you are already a winner. You have decided that you are going to start this journey, you are going to hustle through this journey, you are going to get through this journey, so you are already a winner. You have come to this point. That itself proves a lot about you. So now, one thing I want you to understand is this subject might be very new to you. You might have not been very familiar with what this subject is talking about. Okay, it must be telling about pre-scenes, case studies, analysis, subject modules, lessons to learn. It's a written exam. It's a lot of new things. But then regardless of all of this being new, one thing is it is quite achievable. It is something doable. You can do it and you can win this exam. You are going to pass this exam, and then you do not need to repeat. Repeating is, you should not be even in your vocabulary. You should not even think about it because it is not needed. Okay, we can get through this journey if we think we can. Mindset is everything. You have to dream of it. You have to see yourself passing this exam. You have to see yourself successfully walking out the day from your exam, and you should see yourself one day walking into BMICH, making your parents so proud of you that you have gotten through and become a chartered accountant. It is not an easy journey. It's a very difficult journey, but then still you have gone through that hard journey. That proves a lot about you. That speaks volumes about you. So that's what we are going to aim and train ourselves for. So let's do it properly. You don't need to panic. Okay, let's take it one step at a time and comprehend it chunk by chunk, not all at once. So now, speaking about how you will be assessed in BCAP. Now, how are you going to be tested in this business capstone exam? There are two ways that you are going to be tested. Let me explain it to you. One thing is called a verbal pitch, and the other one is going to be your written examination. Now, this will come around 2 to 3 months before the final exam. And then you have your written exam. Now both of this weigh 50% each of your final marks. So if you are to pass the exam, out of this 100, you need to have minimum 50% of marks. So this verbal pitch is a pre-seen case. That means before the exam you get some preparation time, training time to look at the case study that they have given you, to analyze that case study and then understand it and then apply knowledge on this pre-seen case. Now when it comes to the written exam, the final written exam, it is an unseen case, which means you get a scenario, a story and a set of information, insight and facts which you have to understand, read, comprehend. It's the first time that you are seeing it as it is on the examination setup. So you don't see it beforehand. So both of these components are compulsory. You can't think that you're going to attempt only one component and pass the exam. No, that is not possible. You have to attempt both of these if you are to get this 50% of marks to pass the exam. And then you have to practice application, judgment and professionalism in both of these scenarios, not just the verbal pitch or the written exam. And like I told you all before, you cannot memorize anything. You don't have the necessity to memorize anything because you are taking everything to your exam. You are allowed to take literally anything into your exam hall. So why should you memorize? So now you must be all this time wondering, I'm talking about a pre-seen case. Pre-seen case. What is this pre-seen case? Never heard of this word before. What is this pre-seen case? So let's understand what a pre-seen case study is or a case is. Okay. Now it's the first time that I know that you all are being exposed to this pre-seen case. So it is a realistic business case which is released by CS Sri Lanka. In the next couple of videos, I will show you what a pre-seen case looks like so that you get an understanding on what a pre-seen case is. Also, I will upload it onto the LMS where when you access this video, you will be able to have a look at what the pre-seen case looks like. And then, now this pre-seen case is provided around 3 months before your exam, and it is going to be the same case study applicable to all the students. It's not that you are going to get one case and your friend is going to or your colleague is going to get another case. It's going to be one case study where all the students are going to analyze and interpret, and also that forms the basis for your verbal pitch. Let me explain to you in detail what a verbal pitch is. Now, what is the purpose of CS Sri Lanka giving you this pre-seen 3 months before the exam? Now they want to see whether you read the pre-seen, understand the pre-seen, whether you can analyze the real world business problem that they have presented in the pre-seen, and test how you identify operational issues. Now business capstone is all about understanding and learning the business operations. So they are going to test how are you going to identify operational problems. Okay, they are going to give you a story about a business in a lot of aspects, not only operations, different functions within the business, different sort of problems within the business. So how are you going to identify these operational issues, and how are you going to recommend practical solutions on how the business can overcome these operational issues? It necessarily doesn't need to be an operational issue for you to recommend how a business could do better in what they are doing. So now your role in the pre-seen case study. Number one, you have to think who you are when analyzing this pre-study. Now before reading this pre-seen case study, you should change your mindset. Now no, you are not a CA student anymore. Okay, you are a finance executive who is working in that company, and you are involved in the day-to-day operations of the company, and you should be able to analyze issues. You should be able to help your leadership team or the senior management team make decisions. Your role is to support them in the decision making process by giving them all the information that they need to make these decisions, and also to propose realistic short-term actions. Now you are not going to think how the business is going to operate in the next 3 years, how is it going to prosper in the next 10 years, what are the strategic decisions that we need. No, that's not what is expected from you. You have to think, I'm reading this case study, I'm looking at it, I am working in this business, I am an employee in this business, I work in the finance department as a finance executive, and this is my role, and this is how I'm going to look at it. The lens that you look through has to be adapted. You have to feed that into your mindset before you analyze or read the case study. So during this pre-seen, you should avoid thinking like a CEO. You should think like a finance executive who is involved in day-to-day operations. The CEO of the company or the CFO in the company is not going to come and get involved in day-to-day operations. No, it's the finance executive or the operational people, in our language how we call, who is going to be involved in day-to-day operations. And also you should be able to you have to come out of this mindset. You're not going to be a consultant who is going to advise things. You are going to help gather the information, gather or do the baseline work that is needed to come up and think like a finance executive. Now, you have to first of all adapt in your mindset. You are someone who actually works in this company. You are an employee of this company. You have to think like you are inside this business. You are a part of this business, not someone who's looking at it from outside and saying, it's good if the business does that and that and that. No, that's not what is expected. Cool? Okay. So now, the verbal pitch. Now, you are given a story, you are given some insight, you are given the financial information, a little bit of, there can be different sort of information in your case study because it's a story. And it depends from company to company, case to case. Number one, you have to record a video pitch. Now, this video that you have to record is going to be a 5-minute long video. It's not going to be very lengthy. It's just a 5-minute video and it's going to have just 3 slides in it. Once you're going to analyze this scenario or this case, you're going to put your findings or your understanding into 3 slides, and then that video you're going to upload it onto the CA Sri Lanka LMS. Don't worry, we will help you. We will support you during this journey. You have nothing to worry. And when it comes to the 3 slides, this is the structure of the 3 slides. First of all, you will be given 5 different scenarios to pick from. From those 5 scenarios, you can pick one scenario, and based on that, you have to explain why it is happening, what is the root cause for this problem or thing that you identified, and then you have to propose some practical short-term actions that you are going to propose to the company or implement in the company or help your leadership team implement as a finance executive. Now, in here, it's always best to just pick one thing and do the best with it, rather than, picking a lot of things and trying to do the best in all the things, because you're just given 5 minutes and 3 slides to work on. So you're going to pick one issue, one scenario, look at it in isolation, drill deep down in that problem and give a solution as a finance executive. Now, this is how your verbal pitch will be evaluated. You will be evaluated under 4 different areas. First of all, they will look at how good your analytical insight is, how good you have analyzed the case study, how good you have read the case study and gotten proper understanding. And then it's not just about understanding. Now, it's a video, right? It's a set of slides, 3 slides, a 5-minute video. You're going to communicate, you're going to speak, you're going to express what you analyzed through communicating it. So you have to learn or master the skill of communication. And then professional presence. You should be able, the person who's watching you should be able to trust you. You should show that you are credible about what you're talking about. Credibility. People should trust you on what you're speaking about. They should think that you're a master in what you're speaking about. So that's professional presence, and that comes through tone, the way you speak, how you speak, your voice modulation, the volume, the tone, the pace that you speak in, and all of that. And then the data and context. You should speak relevant information. You should speak about relevant facts. Okay, when you are picking a scenario, you should be able to understand and explain what is relevant to this scenario, what is not relevant to this scenario. And then back again, ultimately what we should understand is it is not a presentation competition. It's not a public speaking competition. It is a competition it's not a competition at all. It is professional communication. It is not a presenting competition. They're not going to see who the best speaker is, but they're going to see, were you able to communicate what your findings were, what your insight were, what your analysis was in the best way possible. And then moving on to the unseen or the written part of the exam, which will come toward in your last month in this journey. So during your exam, you will be given 3 hours of writing, and in addition to 3 hours of writing, you will be given 20 minutes of reading time. Before the exam, they will give you the paper 20 minutes before the exam. You have time to read the paper because it's a story, it is a case, not just a question, a very short question. It's going to be, to arrive at the question, they should give you the entire story and the insight. So for you to read it, it will take a bit of time. So CA Sri Lanka does not expect you to consume time for that during your 3 hours of writing time. So you're given the paper, you're not able, you won't be given paper to write in, but you will be given time to plan. And then it's an open book exam, so you can take literally anything you want to the exam. You can take your notes, your books, your study text, whatever you want. And then there will be 4 compulsory questions in your exam, and each question will have 25 marks each that you need to write for. So every question, all of these 4 questions are going to test these parts. It's going to test technical application, it is going to test professional judgment, and it is also going to test your power skills and your integrity skills that we discussed before, as you remember. So now one must be thinking, it's an open book exam. You can take anything, it's not a big thing, it's an easy game. Do you think open book exams are easy? They're allowing you to bring everything into the study hall. Now that's the trick. So you're allowed to bring everything in. You can't just copy paste what is in your book into the paper. You need to think, you need to apply. That is where the mind game is. That is where the game is when it comes to this subject. It's a beautiful subject. Let's learn it together. So this is how your writing will happen during the exam. This is the marking approach. Okay, you will have to write out of each question. Now each question is how many marks? It is 25 marks, out of which 20 marks given for your technical knowledge, and then 5 marks given on, they're going to test how you are going to apply those power skills and integrity skills that we learned into the question. So when it comes to securing the maximum marks possible, now this is applicable for any CA exam that you are going to write in the future, not just for business capstone. That's why I'm going to take the time to explain this to you. Though it's time consuming, it is very important that you comprehend this from day one of your CA journey. Because going upwards, you have to write exams, you have to structure your answers in a very meaningful way to secure the maximum marks possible. So it is very important that you structure your answer. Or have you all heard this? You all can't write answers like that. The question is asking something, you are writing elsewhere, but you have written 2 pages long. No, that is not going to work in this setup. So whatever you write, it should be relevant to the case. You can't write irrelevant things, like I said, okay? You have to answer the question based on the information that is given to you. So you have to be able to filter from all the information that the examiner has given you, what is relevant, what is irrelevant, what is important, what is the most important, what is the least important. And then you have to be able to interpret the information that is given to you, not just do a mathematical sum or a calculation. Yeah, there might be instances where you have to do a calculation, but then more than that, it is important on how you interpret it. So to interpret it, you have to bring together all the knowledge that you've gathered throughout this course and then apply it to the exam. And then you have to write balanced ethical recommendations. You have to be ethical in whatever the solutions that you're providing. It should be doable, it should be realistic, it should be practical. We should be able, whatever the solutions that you're recommending, it should be able to, you can incorporate it in the real world business scenario. Okay? So don't just go and write generic theory, because you're allowed to take your book. Don't think that, just going and copy pasting what is in your book works. No, it's not going to work. It's not going to bring you any marks. And don't write long, unfocused answers. Answer what is asked. cater to exactly what the question has asked you, because otherwise you're going to lose time, valuable time. Time is very precious in any exam setup. Okay, so first of all, this is how we are going to support you. First of all, you have your knowledge pillar. You are going to complete the syllabus, which is going to be the 37 37 lessons under the 5 chapters A, B, C, D, E. And then once you get the pre-seen case, when CA Sri Lanka issues this, we will guide you in how to select the issue, the scenario. We will help you to analyze the root causes and also mentor you in preparing that 5 minutes videos for 3 slides long. Don't worry, you got us, you got our help during this process. And then you can do model questions. So model questions, the more you practice for the exam, the more confident you will be at the exam, the more your mind will feel relaxed and comfortable at the exam, allowing you to score the maximum marks at the exam. And also the unseen case strategy. Okay, now you have to have the practice of reading similar case studies in other model questions and practice trying to identify problems, trying to answer for questions, model questions. Don't worry, we will do a plenty of model questions under each lesson, as well as when it's close to the exam, we will do more model questions as well. And this is, I would say, in my experience, the most crucial area in CA exams is managing your time. Now, managing time doesn't happen overnight. It happens with practice. Whichever the answer you write, from day one, time yourself. Think you are writing an exam and you are going to sit in a table, keep your back straight, sit in a chair, in a lit area, and take a pen and paper. You're not going to type it out, because your final exam is going to be a written exam. You are going to practice doing the exam, just like the exam. You're going to practice every question that we do in the classroom, just thinking that it is like the exam. Now, importance of discipline and preparation. Okay. Discipline is the most important thing. The thing that I would tell after preparation, discipline is the most important thing if you are to get through this exam. Number one, you have to have dedicated time and effort, because success doesn't happen naturally. It happens to only people who take the effort and think that they are going to achieve it. So we will have something called a methodical preparation. We will prepare you step by step in a very methodical way, in a way that you feel that you can do this is achievable, this is winnable. But I want you to dedicate time, make a schedule, study consistently, watch videos consistently, and keep in touch, because we don't want last minute exam pressure. When we have 5 to 6 beautiful long months to study slowly, why do we need to get pressured just 1 month or a week before the exam? Okay? Because you are learning this subject not just to pass an exam. You are learning this subject for life, for your career, for your future. So that's all of that what I wanted to tell you throughout this VCAP journey. I've given you the core or the foundation of what you need to know if you are to get through this beautiful journey of 5 to 6 months of learning business capstone. It is achievable, it is winnable, you can do this, you got this. We are going to support you in this journey. Don't worry. If you have any questions, if you didn't understand anything, please reach out to me. I'll give you my contact details as well. I've given you, and this set of slides will be uploaded to the LMS. You will be able to read it, understand it, and comprehend it as well. So with that, I will meet you in our next video, which will be the introduction chapter to the business capstone course curriculum. And I'll meet you there, and until then, stay safe, keep focused, keep dreaming, keep manifesting, and one day you are going to achieve success. You are going to pass business capstone. You are going to proceed to the next level in your CA curriculum, which is going to be corporate level. And then one day, soon, you are going to qualify as a chartered accountant. You're going to walk into BMICH to the graduation, and you are going to make your parents proud. And more importantly than your parents, you're going to make yourself proud. So let's work towards achieving that dream. Let's work towards seeing the 2 letters or the 3 letters ACA in front of your name. So with that, I conclude. Have a lovely week and a lovely couple of months ahead of you. Wishing you all the very best.